Okay, welcome guys to the next Blender tutorial. So we're going with like the Greek kind of Athens theme, the kind of Roman kind of look. So for this particular tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and make a pool today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the default cube. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn my screencasting keys on here. So take this right here. We're just gonna scale this down and then scale it up. Just like so. So we should just have like a rough kind of square, kind of oblong kind of shape. So what we'll do, we'll go to the edit mode. We're going to go on the top face right here. And then we're going to go E-fret extrude. And then we're just going to go ahead and scale in. Just by slight. And then this part is going to be the edge of the pool. So we're going to go E-fret extrude. What you want to do, just bring it down just slightly. And then just scale it in just slightly as well. Just so you've got that nice little bevel that's going around on the outside. And then you want to go E-fret extrude, bring it down. E-fret extrude again, bring it down. We're going to have like a slight lip. So we're just going to go ahead and just extrude that out just slightly. And then E-fret extrude and bring it down to the bottom. Now what you want to do is make sure that you don't clip this at the bottom. You just want to go here. We're going to go E-fret extrude again. And then we're just going to go scale in just slightly. So once we've done this, we're going to go shade smooth and we should have something like this. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these edges right here, because what we want to do is make a little bit of a lip on the edge. So if you go just here, just Control R, just loop cut that right there. We're going to go ahead and just select these edges just around the corner. It doesn't matter if this intersects into the wall, because you're not going to see that side. But we're going to go E-fret extrude, and then we're just going to go scale, and just scale this outwards so we've got this nice kind of little beveled kind of edge. Just scale this inwards just on this side just slightly. So now this is going to be our pool that we have in the main room. And we've got little shelves and stuff like that on the side. So from here we can actually go for, we'll go with a cube. We'll just scale this out. You can go in the X-ray mode at this moment. If you press 1 just to go sideways right here, make sure that the cube just sits just under here. And then we're going to go G and just bring it into the side right there as well. So the little gap right at the bottom is just so that we can see the tiling. So we're going to go edit mode, take one of these faces right here. Let's press G, bring it across, and then press G on the side and just bring it across. Now at this point you can actually take the cube off if you want to. For me personally, I'm just going to keep it here. This is just going to be the reference cube. I'm just going to turn off that X-ray right there because it's pretty annoying. So this is the reference cube that we're going to use. I'm just going to go ahead and take this and just press G, move it a little bit closer to the wall, and I'm just going to rotate it by 90 degrees. Just move this to the side right there. And just to the side right there. As I said, it doesn't matter that it clips. So, once we've got this cube, we can actually name this as main room. And what this is going to do is, this is going to be kind of like a background cube. This is going to just be for reference. So when we put the rest of the walls in, we can actually use it to see where we're going to put things. And then we can also use this cube in the end to do some lighting effects with it. So for this cube, really, if we just turn it off for now, oops, wrong cube. This one should be pool. Sorry if you've got that in the wrong one. The cube on the outside should be the guide cube. Okay, so once we've got that established, just turn off your guide cube. So we're gonna go, let me see, I think I'm gonna start working with pillars to begin with. That might be an idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add a cube in there. Let's just pull that up a little bit. Now we're gonna get a little bit fancy with this cube. So what I want to do is go to edit mode. We're going to start by, we can actually do this on two sides if you wanted to. If you just press 1, you can get a side view on this, but also you can select this side as well at the same time. So just press 1. We're going to go E for extrude, keep it where it is, scale outwards, then just press S for scale, and this just should scale where it is. Just press S for scale again and just bring it down. E for extrude, leave it where it is. Let's see, S for scale, so we're just going to go E, S again for scale, just bring that up. Should have a pillar that looks like this, roughly. So now we're going to do some gold inlaying. So what we want to do is go Control R, and we're just going to go ahead and just start splitting this just into quarters, just as so. And then we'll split this one down this side on either side, and then we'll do the same to the other side. So you want to split this into quarters. So you got 4 parts. Split either side. And then what we're going to do, we've got a central bit right here. We'll use that as a reference, but we won't use it for what we're going to use it for. Let's quarter this out. Just about so. So you're just going to go half here, and half here. And then I'm just going to go half here at the bottom and then half here at the top. So what we're going to do now, we should have the same kind of pattern all the way around. We're going to go ahead and grab all of these in the middle on absolutely every side. So we're going to clone this pillar to keep in with the theme of what we have for this Athens. So now we have every side selected. We're going to go E for extrude, keep it where it is, scale inwards, just slightly. Oops. So you want to scale inwards just slightly and then scale upwards. But make sure there's a little bevel going all the way around, so you should have something like this. So now, what we want to do with this is we want to add the gold to the outside. So the gold is actually going to sit on these parts right here. If you just press shift, you'll be able to select the entire row rather than a little bit like that. Oops. Just make sure it's not diagonal. So you have this one and then you go straight up, press shift, control, and then you can select all of that. So this is where you're going to have to be. It just selects these two. Boom, and boom. Might be a little bit tedious if you've not done this before. Let's see. Yeah, it does take a little while. So just have some patience with it to make sure that you're selecting the correct ones. If you select one by accident, just press Control Z. So it's going to press here, Control Shift, and then you can select all of that one. So this is the last one, Control Shift, select all of that one, Control Shift, select all of that one, Control Shift, select, oops, and then select these ones. Okay, that's just weird. I think I didn't press, what's the name? Hold on. What did I do? Right, yeah, got those 4 selected. Thankfully I don't have to go all the way around. Make sure that you're pressing shift at all times whilst you're doing this. Right, so now I should have all 4 sides selected. So we're going to go to material. You're going to go new. So this is going to be the base material. We'll go marble. And then we want to press plus. We're going to go new material, and this is going to be gold. Now, if you put this material on anything, it's just going to be the same gold all the way through. So, yeah, it's nice to have the exact same theme rather than colour matching. So, if we just take this base colour right here, we'll bring this down to an orange, bring up your metal, bring down your roughness, and we'll click assign. So now, when we go to the object mode, and if you're in the render mode, if you're on EV, change it to cycles. we now have this nice little gold going on. Now it doesn't look like much right now because we need to put in some of the shaders, we need to put on some of the roughness, and we obviously need to do the lighting as well. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that. Let's go back to the regular mode, so we're not on render. We're going to take this pillar right here. I'm just going to go ahead and press G, just bring it down. So this can go at the back of the temple just here. And what I might do actually, because we do have that box guide, but I'm going to go against it a little bit, and I'm going to put a little wall just at the back here, so it looks kind of like you've got little bits and shelves and stuff. So we're just going to use a square. Just put this right here. So you've got that little lip over the bathtub right there. We'll go edit mode. And then we're going to take this and just go E for extrude and just bring this around the back. And then I'm just going to take these and just bring these up just slightly as well. I think maybe that should be on that side, because if we've got a guide cube, yeah, we should really be, let's rotate this about 90. This is why we have the guide cube, so that we know where and what we're doing in the beginning, because sometimes you can make projects and the camera's zooming around everywhere and you kind of lose your orientation a little bit, so that's primarily why I put those in. So yeah, I think we should be okay with that. So we're going to take this right here. I'm just going to go ahead and place this on the side. You want to keep these at the exact same level so that they look neat and tidy. So if we pull that one that way, we now have this kind of very nice stand going on of 3 pillars, and we've got this kind of bathtub going on. So what we can do now is we could have some intersecting pillars at the top. We could actually take one of these pillars and we could shift D it, so we keep within the theme, rotate it by 90, and then just stretch it across the top here. And as long as you don't see the seams, you should in theory get away with it. So we could technically do the pillar just like this, and then we could go to edit mode. We could go to, I would say 3. Yep. X-ray mode. Take these out. Delete them. Faces. If I could ever select this. There we go. Delete faces. So now we've got this kind of concrete pillar that will follow the exact same theme that we just had. Now this is going to have a hole at the end of it, so what we're going to have to do is we can actually select, if I just bring this in, select all of these parts right here, just press F and it will fill it. So again, just select all these parts right back here, press F for fill. Oops, let's not do that. Right, so now we've got this one. So now we've got a little bit of an intersection just here. I can see it when I'm rotating the camera. So what I'm going to do is just scale this upwards just slightly and scale it inwards just slightly. So now if we go Shift D, go for R for rotate 90 degrees, press G, bring it over. We have to stretch this one out again. So we'll go with scale, S for scale. And you can bring this one over. So maybe just put it just there. So we render this out. We now have this nice little beam coming across. And the best thing about it as well, you could take this and this, and you can bring it over. Let's go Shift D, and then we'll go for G. Oops. Shift D, duplicate, bring it over. And then you can place it just here. So now the pillar's not really sat on anything, but you can put something in the way here. You can put another block or something like that. For me personally, I'm just going to get rid of this one. So it's kind of like a freestanding pillar. Just scale this outwards just slightly. So we want to do these ceilings, and we want to do the walls and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera in. So let's go with view, align camera to view. Press G, just bring this back. Oops. We would have pressed G to bring that back, but unfortunately it's kind of kicks out the ballpark right there. Let's see, viewpoint, camera. Select your camera, press G, and just run this back just slightly. Just where you need it to be. So I'm going to put mine just here on the side. We could put some plants in here as well as other things, just to kind of pop it a little bit. So, I'm going to take this pillar right here. I'm just going to move this across. And I'm going to add a plane at the bottom. So if we go to add and then meshes and then planes, just scale that one outwards. Just make sure that you get the plane just where you need it. We're going to need this later on to make the tiles. Press G, just bring it down. And then we will put one of these planes up against the wall as well. So we're just going to go 90 degrees, rotate 90 degrees. Just get this up at the back. Press G. And we've got the wall in there. I'm just going to go ahead and just scale that down so that it fits perfectly, because we're going to need to do some patterns on this. So when we're doing the patterns on this one, we're going to do the edit mode, Control R, just get your central point there, Control R again, central point. For some reason it's not showing up on that side, but we'll see what happens. And just kind of find your midpoints just here. So when we do this, if I can ever get this to work again, come on, I'm just going to turn this off. Yeah, midpoint there, midpoint there, midpoint there, midpoint there. Okay, so you're going to want to try and get a very thin line just going around the outside, just kind of framing this just a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead with that one, just there. And it might look like a little bit of a mess at the moment, but just trust the process. And we will select all of these ones, Control Shift, Control Shift again, Control Shift again, and then Control Shift again. And then we're going to go to the Materials tab. Let's see. So we'll go to the drop down. We're going to have to do the base colour first. So we're going to go base colour marble plus, and then we're going to go with the gold, and then we're going to click assign. So now this gold will be assigned to this one in particular. So if we go to the render tab right now, we now have a nice little gold panel just sat right there. So in theory, if we can get this correct, we could take this panel and flip it and put it on this side. So if we go to Shift D, bring it over. Now this is going to be a little bit fiddly, so what we're going to have to do, rotate it by 90 degrees, and then we'll bring it this way. Now hopefully the pattern should appear on the other side. If it doesn't, we're just going to have to do some stuff. See, now the pattern does appear on the other side, so what we're going to have to do, press G, just bring it in as close as you can. What you can do is scale it inwards, and then I'll make that box a little bit smaller. And then we can make the wall longer on the other side. So just try and get it as flush as you can to the building itself. Should roughly just sit about there. Go to edit mode. We'll take all these sides just at the side. E for extrude. Just bring them over. Oops. Maybe not E for extrude. Let's take these little points just at the side right here. I'm gonna go E for extrude, bring it over. And then we can go to regular objects mode. So now we have this nice little kind of watering hole just in the middle with gold trims. So the white that's on here right now, we can actually make that into kind of a marble kind of effect. So that's what I'm kind of going for. So we need to put the water in there, we need to put some lighting. You can go with kind of like traditional lanterns if you want to. I personally think maybe some spotlights might characterize this a little bit. It might give it a little bit of a different kind of niche, I guess you would call it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this light out in the middle, because there's no point in having that light in the middle right there, because it just doesn't make any sense, because there's no light. Well, there is a light there, but it's floating in the middle of a room, and there's nothing to basically characterize why that light's there. I'm also going to take this pillar right here. I'm just going to go Shift D, bring this across, and just put this right here. So the next bit that we really need, let's see, I'm just looking at my notes right here. So I'm going to do some underlighting, I think, or maybe some rooftop lighting. So I'm just going to go ahead and just Shift D this, so that we've got a ceiling going on. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and add, we'll do some spotlights. So we're going to add a cylinder. I'm just going to press G, bring it up, scale it down, and then I'm going to go to edit mode, take this top face right here, E for extrude, just slightly, scale it in. Then we're going to go E for extrude, leave it where it is, scale it in, and then E for extrude and just drop it down. Now with these lights, what you want to do, go into your materials tab right here, which is at the bottom. You want to go new. So of course we're going to do the base light first. So this is going to be base light in black. Then we'll go to plus, and this will be new. We're going to click assign, and we'll go to emission. And we're going to turn the strength up a little bit. Click assign for this one. Object mode, and we're going to shade smooth. So now when we turn this on, we now have this little lights that's going on. So this can now go around the edges of the pool, it can go underneath, wherever you want to put it really. You can turn the light down as well if you really need to. So maybe we'll have some kind of low lights in here. So if you take this and you essentially clone it, I'm just going to press rotate to 180. So if you essentially clone this all over the place, this will be the same kind of lighting everywhere. So you're going to need, if you've got low lighting, you're going to need many of these to light a room. If you've got high lighting, you'll need less. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do with these. So I'm going to go ahead and put the light right there. Let's go with Shift D. I think we're going to be -1. Oh no, just press, I think 10 maybe, no, okay, hold on, trying, to figure out the best way to do these ones. I think we'll go by 5. If we go Shift D, bring it over and then press 5. 5's pretty good. 5's a good distance. Let's go again. Shift D, and press 5. Shift D, and press 5. Let's select all of these lights because we've got a secondary pillar on the other side. We can just go ahead and copy these over. So Shift D, oops, Shift D, bring him over. So now you've got one light that doesn't really fit right there, but that's okay because once we hit the render, this is what it should look like. So you'll see that all these are they're quite dull in stature. So if we turn this up, we can actually light the room up a little bit better. You can see the lighting working right there. Beautiful. So this is something that you can do with your projects. Now we have a little bit of a gap here as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this pillar. We'll go Shift D. I'm just going to duplicate it over because I kind of like the patterns that it's got on this. And we can fill that gap in, no problem. So, the next part of this really will be to put in the little bits of marble, put in the water, put in some detail as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this one a minute. I'm just going to make it kind of like a black or a grey, just to kind of offset this a little bit. Just a little bit of a deeper tone. So it's almost like it's on a different material. If we go over to the shading tab, which is at the top right here, we can actually change the materials and their properties. So this right here, we can go ahead and add a noise texture just right there. So we're going to go color to base color. You'll get all these nice little stripes going across it, and then we can go to add and we can go bump. Place your bump in between. You want your color right here to go to your height, just there. And then we're going to go to add and color ramp, spelt the American way. And now we've got this kind of nice little pattern going on. So we can move these little bars to either side to make it a deeper colour or a lighter colour. Change up the roughness a little bit to bring in some more details, or just move it down a little bit to bring in less. I'm personally going to go with something like this. And then maybe we could just pull that outwards just a little bit. So we've got this little bit of texture going on, but there's not too much. So when we render it, it should look like this. So you've kind of got this little bit of a marble effect going on in the background. So as regards to the floor, if we go back to this tab right here, let's see, if we go to materials, we don't currently have an assigned material, so I'm just going to call this floor. You can edit it here, you can edit it on the bottom as well. Let's go with brick. So we got the brick texture right there. We want to go color to base color. Now we've got this nice little brick going on. We want to change the offset to 0. So we've got this nice tiling, and the brick width, we just want to change that as well, so we've got square bricks more than anything. And you can scale this upwards, you can scale it downwards depending on what you'd like for your design. I'm just going to scale this just to here so that it fits nicely around the edge. And again, we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to go with the bump texture just in here, color to height. And now we've got this beautiful kind of blue floor going on, but we don't want that, so we're going to have the color ramp. Place it right here. And now you can make this darker, you can make this lighter, whatever you would like. For the roughness, personally, I think we should add a noise texture. So if we just place this one down here, we'll go for colour and we can go for roughness. And now you'll notice that we've kind of got this kind of pattern going on just here at the bottom. Just take that in a little bit. And you can also add a bump texture to this. So Shift D, just place this across, colour to heights. It'll take a while just to load in. And now we have this kind of nice shiny floor that has this rough kind of pattern on it. So we now kind of have this little bathroom going on with all the tiles, and then we have this shiny floor, which is the effects that we're wanting. So it's kind of like very posh, very nice, very relaxing if that's your thing. We can add a plane right in here. If you go to your modifiers, add modifier, and then type in ocean. Ocean's already appeared for me because I think it's one that I use a lot. So the program's kind of learned what I use. Excuse me. So place it in the middle right here. Just want to duplicate this a little bit just to give it a little bit of a waveform. Scale this outwards if you want to. But just make sure that it sits within the pool itself. Press G, bring it over, and then we're just going to scale it down a little bit just to make sure that it fits where it needs to be. So we're going to go into the materials tab right here. We can add a slight blue just to this, and then we can remove the alpha just slightly so that the water becomes transparent, just as such. So regarding the marble stuff that we've been talking about in the beginning, we could just do the same pattern really as this right here. I'm just going to go ahead and just lighten this a little bit and pull the alpha so we can see through that pool. Maybe just a little bit more. And what I'm going to do, so we've kind of got the room right here. I'm going to put the box, the guide box over the top, and I'm going to make a window and put some light coming through the window, because I think that would be really good for the pool as well. So at this stage, what we can do is we can go ahead and add some trees, and we can also go ahead and add some plants. So if we go with the cylinder, press G, bring it over here. We go to the edit mode, just take this down a little bit, and also what I'm going to do, select the bottom and just thin this just a little bit. So we're going to go E for extrude, scale outwards, E for extrude, scale outwards, E for extrude, E for extrude, and then we're just going to start scaling inwards very slightly. E for extrude, scale inwards, and then what you want to do is just make a little bit of a bevel just at the top, and then just extrude it all the way down. So this is going to be a plant pot. So shade smooth. Add a new material to this. We could go with purple, and take down the roughness and pull up the metallic. Maybe purple would be a nice colour for this. And what we want to do now is add, and we'll go to, let's see, we'll go to curve, tree sampling gen. If you can't find tree sampling gen, it'll be in preferences. I'm pretty sure it's on extensions, tree sampling gen, there you go. So just go into your extensions right there. So once you get a tree like this, if you've never used this before, don't click anywhere else. I implore you, don't click anywhere else. The only place that you need to click is a sampling add tree gen right here in the corner, and it should appear when we're on the layout mode as well. It will always appear in the bottom left corner. So when we've got this, we've got load present right here at the bottom. We can have weeping willows, we can have small maples, pines, Japanese maple, Douglas fern, Many of these I can't pronounce. We've got willows, we've got white birches. I believe that they're adding to the listings daily to make new trees. So I usually go for a Japanese maple. I quite like Japanese maples. So you'll notice that there's no leaves on here as well. So if we go to the leaves sections under geometry, we can click show leaves. And now we have all these leaves. So I would implore you to have a go at some of the settings on here and just mess around with it a little bit, because it is the real difference between something looking good and something looking a bit naff, if you will. Not to say that anything that you know that we as artists we have to learn from somewhere. Our first pieces of artwork are going to be absolutely naff. I think it's like after the 100th one we actually go, you know what, we're actually making progress. But at the beginning we get frustrated and we're like, we don't know what we're doing. So take your time with it, mess around with the settings, see what works for you. For me personally, I just like to experiment. I just like to put things out there, really. So I think I'm gonna go with that design. You can do random seeds with this as well. I think practice makes perfect, and also happy mistakes, as I always got taught by my art tutor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press G, bring this over, just plant your pot, or pot your plant, whatever it is. Yeah, we'll just place this right here. Scale this down just a little bit of plant inside of this this place. You can have some wacky plants in here if you want to. So these trees come into two parts. You've got the bark kind of part of the main tree, and then you've got the leaves right there. So we take this, press new, and we'll go with we'll call this main tree. So main tree 5 apparently is it's going to have like a nice little chocolatey brown kind of colour just on there, and then we can add a noise texture just to give it a little bit of texture, you know what I mean. Colour to base colour, and we'll go with add and then a bump so we can catch some of that light that's dancing around the room. So colour to height, and then we'll go for colour ramp and place this in the middle. So now we don't have the brown anymore, so we're going to have to just put the brown on here. So if we go to the render, we can now see that we've got this. So if you scale this up, you've got way more detail on the barks of the trees. You can increase the white on here, you can just have it as is if you'd like to. Increase the roughness as well, take it down. So this is the typical tree, and now you can see the way that the light is caught on the tree itself. Now you can edit this as much as you'd like. So now we could do the leaves, and we could do new, call this leaves. Maybe we could do these as kind of like a red kind of pink, like an offset. You could do the same with these if you wanted to, so you've got like different colours, but generally if something's indoors it's probably all just generally one kind of colour. If you've got autumn or something like that, you can put the white noise texture on here, or just the noise texture on here, and you can actually get different coloured leaves for autumn, which I'm sure that I'll be covering later on in the year, so I'll show you how to do that. For autumn or fall, wherever you come from and however you pronounce it, wherever you're from. So we've got this beautiful nice little plant here. I think I'll change the leaves to orange because I think that would suit the room a little bit better, but I'm just going to take it off the render for the moment. I'm just going to go ahead and scale it down. Just make sure you don't clip through your floor, but as long as you've got the plant relatively in the right place, you should be okay. So once we've got this plant in the right place, as we do now, we can click off it and we can just see what it looks like. You might want to change some of your tones, some of your drawings. To be honest with you, it looks like a stick. It's it doesn't look like a very healthy plant in the spa. I think someone needs to go in there and change that out, and I don't like the purple. So, oh. Sorry, 1 second. I have a desk fan that's supposed to be keeping everything cool, but allegedly apparently wants to fall over. Yeah, it's pretty old, but I don't like the purple to this anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and change it to maybe a baby blue, like a teal. But that looks a little bit better. So we can go with, let's go back to shading tab a moment. So it's this background that's kind of really annoying me. We want the base color of marble. So the base color of marble will generally change everything. So if I just go to green, everything that is assigned to the material base color marble is now green. So what we want to do, and I've got my notes on here. It's telling me to use a wave texture for this. So let's go with add. I think, yeah, principal BSDF. Let's go with add. We'll go with a wave texture. Just right here. A colour and a base colour. So now we've got all these little stripes going on, and then we want a texture coordinate. This is what my notes are telling me that I need to use. Texture coordinate right there, and you want to put your objects to your vector. So objects to vector should be like this, and then I think we're distorting. Yeah, we're distorting. So this is going to be the marble kind of effect. Now it's too big, I think, so we could just pull that just there. Change the roughness as well. It's nice, but I don't quite like it. Let's go with distortion. So, let's see. I mean, you could do what you'd like with this. Personally, I don't know about all of this. This kind of is new territory for me, because I've got the notes on it and I've kind of researched what I need, but I don't like the tones on it. I think the principal BSDF is great. Let's see. I'm going to go to roughness actually. I'm going to change this colour. Instead of it being on the base colour, it's going to go to roughness. I think that would look a lot better. I think maybe something subtle in the background actually might look a lot better than something just screaming in your face. So we can have this kind of marble kind of texture going on, but it's not quite marble. Maybe we could go ahead and also add a bump node in here, just to kind of pop some of that pattern, just by slight. I think, let's remove this bump node. Let's see what's going on. This is what I'm talking about with me, like, I just like to experiment sometimes. Let's go with FAC to roughness instead. See if that makes a difference. I don't know. Like, I think some of the patterns look a lot better in the past version that I did than this one. I just think this is too much. I mean, if you guys can kind of fiddle around with it and the colour ramps and you can find the right combination, like, absolutely, you should give it a go. I'm just going to go ahead and just pull this back a little bit. Just make it a little bit less than what it is. And maybe we could just scale this. I think that looks better. That looks way better than it did. Maybe take this black right here. Just make it a lighter tone. Just so you kind of got a fade in the background. And then we could go ahead and add a blue. Just here as well. Just to bring some of that out. So we kind of have this little bit of a marble thing going on with some veins coming through it. So there's something else as well. If you guys have noticed, it kind of mirrors itself right here. So what you could do is you could take this one right here. We could go duplicate this. We could go for base material. Make sure that you're on this one. Duplicate it, and then you can put this as 2, and then you can change like the patterns, the size. Maybe this has been cut from 2 separate pieces of marble, so the offset is just ever so different. So you could have this rather than straight copied. Maybe yeah, this has been cut from something else. Okay, so we could do the same pattern in theory with the pool, but I want to do tiling, so let's do with the brick texture. Just right here. I'm gonna go colour to base colour. Got all these nice little lines coming across and all this brick on top. Just change the offset so that it matches the floor. So now we've got these straight little tiles on there. We want to take the brick width, just bring that down. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So just bring it over to that one. So we've got these nice little tiles going on. So again, brick width, we just want to minus off that one just a little bit. And maybe just scale this upwards so that they all fit. I think that would do. So now we can see the bricks through there as well. This this water right here, I'm just going to take the roughness down and just put the metallic up. So now we've got the reflections of the rest of the room as well. And then maybe just move this alpha up just ever so slightly. Just enough so that we can see through the pool, but just enough that it's got a kind of establishment as being water with that. And maybe you could remove the blue as well, just slightly. Just ever so slightly teal it. So, for the rest of this room, I think it's just placing things down, really, whatever you want to place in the room. If you've got decorations or anything like that that you would like to place in the room, probably the best opportunity. For me personally, I think I'm going to stop the tutorial just there. Yeah, and I mean, you could add stuff here, you could add stuff here, but I think this is primarily the scene that I wanted to get done today, and basically show you the reflections, show you the marble, stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe. really would help me out. I hope you have a great day. Share, like, whatever you want to do. I'll see you in the next one.